Stampers, this is Dawn, and today we're going to do the triple panel stamping technique, and you can see that here on the front of the card. It's so beautiful, and it's a way to use up your scraps as well. So we're going to make this one using the color combo, the So Saffron, the Pool Party, and the Crumb Cake. And then I also made this one with the Mint Macaron, Pear Pizzazz, and then the Pool Party. And these two are using the Timeless Tropical stamp set that's in the mini catalog. And then this one is using the horse stamp set, which I love. And this one's using the So Saffron, Pool Party, and then the Crumb Cake. So let me give you a little tip here on the colors on when you're choosing what color combo to use for your card. So I have a couple suggestions. So now, of course, we're using the Subtle collection with the Crumb Cake in the neutral to kind of balance the colors. So this is a few of the colors that I would choose for the cards, which I have chose. This is the Mint Macaron, the Petal Pink, Pool Party, So Saffron, and then the Pear Pizzazz. Now all these colors are in the subtles, and then you also have the Crumb Cake, which is in the neutral. And then I also would pick the brights. These colors would work. Now the idea is that you want to be able to stamp on the cardstock and have the image show up. So you don't want to use your darker colors like Night of Navy, your basic black, basic gray. All those are a little bit too dark for this technique. You want to keep it kind of on the lighter shade of your cardstock so you can actually stamp on it. So these colors are in the brights, which you could stamp on them. Now there's a few colors in this collection that I definitely wouldn't stamp this technique on, and that would probably be like the Gorgeous Grape and maybe the Bermuda Bay. But you could definitely stamp on the Flirty Flamingo, the Melon Mambo, the Granny Apple Green, the Costa Cabana, and then the Mango Melody. Those would be a good choice. And then, of course, for your Father's Day, which is coming up, Smoky Slate, Gray Granite, and then also the Sahara Sand. Those colors would be amazing together on a card like this. All right, so there's some choices for you. So let's go ahead and start making this card today. Okay, so we're going to start with the base. And this is a darker shade for the base, just to make the other images pop, which we're using the lighter shades with the Whisper White. So the early espresso cardstock would really be a dramatic base for the card. So this is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then your layers here, the So Saffron, Pool Party, and the Crumb Cake, these are all cut at 1 5/8 by 3 7/8. Okay, and then you're going to need 2 pieces of Whisper White. And these are both cut at 4 by 5 1/4. All right, so we're going to use one for the inside and then one for layering our little strips here. All right, so let me give you some tips here on the stamp set you can choose. All right, so this is the one we're going to use today, the Timeless Tropical. And it's a beautiful stamp set, not only for the greetings, but also for the imagery. But the hibiscus flower is a large flower, and of course it doesn't really show the size, but this is the actual size of the flower. So what you want to choose in a stamp set for this type of technique is something that's large and that will stamp over a couple of the layers, because that's kind of giving you the illusion of like, how did you do that? In my opinion, I think the larger the stamp, the better. So you want to think of a larger stamp that's wider or overhangs when you stamp it over onto the other piece of the layers, okay? So Timeless Tropical is the one we're going to use today. And then this is another choice. This is the Dandelion Wishes. This image right here would be awesome because it's a larger stamp. Let me show you here. So this is the size stamp right here. And then, of course, this has got a lot of cute greetings in that one. Well, actually, this one would be really nice, too. And then this is the one I use for the horse, the Let It Ride. And these images in this stamp set are really nice. So you could actually use a combination of these horses here. I used the large horse and the tree on mine, which you can see what that looks like here. So pretty. All right, so those are a few choices that you can pick for your images for your stamping. All right, so we're going to use the repositionable adhesive. This is not permanent, so you just want to use some kind of adhesive. Now I have used the snail adhesive, but you just want to kind of put your finger over it a few times to make it not so sticky. And you're just going to use a little tiny bit because we're going to just adhere this down to our work surface. And you're going to position your layers the way you want them on your card. So I'm sticking with the same layer that I used for my other card. And this colored combo was really picked from the Tropical Oasis designer paper that's also in the mini catalog. Let me show you that. Okay, so this is on page 39. Actually, the stamp set, the dies, and everything in this suite is on page 39 in the mini catalog. But this is the designer paper, and you'll notice all the colors are listed right here. So you can see that there's So Saffron, Pool Party. I don't think there's Crumb Cake, but I thought I added the Crumb Cake just because it would give it a nice balance. So you can always use your designer paper color combos for your design as well. And that's what I did for this one. All right, so we're going to take our flower. And I'm also using the Soft Suede Classic ink for my stamping. So, and I'm going to stamp this where this hibiscus center here is kind of going one way. And then what's nice with this technique too is that you can turn your stamp and stamp it different, because you don't want it to be the same uniform way to stamp your images. So I'm going to stamp one up here in the corner, making sure to overlap your layers of your cardstock. Okay, so now this one has the hibiscus center going upward. I'm going to turn it just slightly. I'm going to stamp over the Crumb Cake and the Pool Party this time. Okay, so you can see how it's going in a different direction. Now also you want to keep in mind that you want to stamp off as well. So that's what we're going to do down here in the bottom left corner. And once again, I'm going to turn my center of my flower going just slightly different. So I'm going to turn it this way here. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so then I'm going to take the hello from the same stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp it randomly in a couple of the spots that are open. And I'm also going to stamp so I can see how it's going to stamp on my paper. I want it stamped straight. That looks good. And then stamp one up here. And then before I add my third greeting, I'm going to add the greeting that I'm going to actually put on the card. So I'm going to stamp the other hello down here, but I want to stamp my greeting first, which is on the front here, which it says, "Our friendship is timeless." So let me grab some Whisper White. So this is the stamp. These are all in the same stamp set too, by the way. So we're going to stamp our focal greeting here on the Whisper White. And then I'm going to grab my paper snips. I'm just going to hand cut that out. Okay, so there's my greeting. Now I'm going to layer that onto another piece of early espresso. So let me grab that. Looks pretty good. Then we're going to grab some linen thread, and I'm going to tie a double bow, which means I'm just going to double up the linen thread. Let me cut that. Let me cut this. Okay, so you're going to double up your linen thread, and I'm going to start down here, and I'm just going to tie a bow with both pieces of the linen thread. Just like that. And then I'm going to adjust it down to size. That looks pretty good. And trim the tails. Okay, so our double bow is done. Now we're going to go ahead and take our layers here, and I'm going to layer them onto this Whisper White piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do one piece at a time. And you want to leave at least 1/8 of an inch on the border around each of the layers. This is where the technique kind of gives the people, when you're giving this card to them, like, how did they do that? If there's a space between it, you know what I mean? Okay, so now we're going to take our greeting, and I'm going to go ahead and set this on the card. So I'm going to stamp my other hello right down here in the bottom right, because I don't want this to be hidden underneath that greeting there. So I'm just going to stamp another one right there. right, then we're going to grab our linen thread again. And I'm going to put some adhesive along the back. So I'm going to wrap this linen thread around the bottom edge. Let's bring in the linen thread. And I'm going to wrap this around twice. Just around the bottom. Just like that. Cut that off. All right, now we're going to pop these two up on dimensionals. So now we're going to go ahead and put this onto the early espresso piece. Isn't that beautiful? And then we're going to take our greeting. I'm going to put that right over here. Take a glue dot to adhere our little linen bow. And take your pick tool. I'm going to pick a little mini glue dot out. I'm just going to put that one right over here. You could put it over here too. It's totally up to you where you want to put your bow. Okay, so we made a card similar to this in the glitter pit yesterday, and I'll have the link down below if you want to check out the replay. Then I'm going to go ahead and put this Whisper White piece on the inside. So the card we made is the same design, but we're making it vertical. So instead of horizontal like this, we made it go vertical. So these are measurements are totally different for that type of card. Okay, so there's the inside. Now let me show you the other ones again. Okay, so here's the one using the mint macaron, the pear pizzazz, and the pool party. So beautiful. And then here's the other one, the exact same one that we made for the card today, but this one I put the bow on the right-hand side instead of the left. And then here's the one using the Let It Ride stamp set with the horse. Beautiful. I love this technique. So hopefully you'll have some fun with this technique too and give it a try. So I'll have all the items that I used today on today's card listed below. And then don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any future videos. Okay, thanks for stopping by and we'll see you later. Bye.